made a webtoon, or rather, I started a webtoon. I uploaded parts 1, 2, and 3 of 4 of the prologue, and hopefully I'll maybe be able to continue making episodes for maybe years to come. And I called it Leave No Mark. And I'm going to show a scroll view of the webtoon first before I start. Again, there's one more part, so kind of ends at a cliffhanger. What's this for? So before I start showing the process, I want to start with some context. So I've been working on this story for about 2 years now, and I've spent quite literally hundreds of hours working on concept stuff like world building, character building, all that. But I've been avoiding plotting. But I knew from very early on that I wanted it to start with a prologue, which was like a dream sequence that was confusing at first, but would be explained later. So I chose making a webtoon as my Zenith because I thought if I started actually drawing what I had, it would give me motivation to continue writing plot in the future. So and like I said, I already have a ton of concept art already, so I had a good idea of what I wanted the real life portions of the prologue to look like. But for the actual meat of it, the dream sequence, I wanted to avoid a problem that I noticed over and over again when I was drawing my concept. And you can see it pretty clearly here. I wanted, when magic was being used, I wanted to have that dream-like effect. But what I found myself doing over and over was I would just draw, I would just make a normal, I would just make a normal drawing and then add effects on top. And over here it's the same thing. It's just a normal drawing with effects on top. And it looks fine, but my goal was to really push it further and break the ties from realism and do something truly stylized. And I collected these references, and hopefully you can understand what I mean. All of them do it in different ways, but they push shape language, color language, the strokes they use, the composition they use to really break the boundaries of realism, and I wanted to use that to create that fever dream kind of vibe. And once I had my goal set, I moved to thumbnailing, which is thumbnailing is not meant to be shown to anyone. It's just a quick and dirty process of getting your ideas from a vague idea in your head to something a little more solid. So with that pressure of making something pretty out of the way, you can race through drawings. All of these were completely ugly drawings that I never ended up using. And then I found something that I liked, and then from there it's just doing pass after pass of revisions until you end up with something that you feel should be final. This one, it was pass number 2. You can see I added notes and self-critique for future passes. And then once I had finished pass number 2, I did, by the way, sketch out the 4th part, but didn't include it here, obviously, for spoiler reasons. Then I moved to the 3rd part, which was digital on Procreate. And I was working on a really long canvas like this, because for a little bit of context, how Webtoon works is it stitches together a bunch of smaller images vertically to create that endless scroll effect. And so by working on long panel batches like this one, which is the size of 6.5 of those smaller images on top of each other, I would draw all this, then I would take the bottom half and then move it to the top of the next panel batch and then continue from there. So that way there would be a lot less of those breaks that I would have to worry about matching up to make sure it is seamless. And the third rough digital pass ended up having like a pretty stark variety of finish. Like this one was super rough and required a lot of work to get it to final. This just needed some cleanup, and this, I was having so much fun with drawing these faces that I just went straight to final. And then I uploaded it on a test Webtoon page that I could easily send it out to people for critique. These are some of the critiques I got in writing, but I got a lot more in person. And I wanted to include this because I wanted to emphasize how incredibly important critique is to a process like this. Because you need other people to look at your work to tell you things that you might have missed and help you fix the gaps in your own skill. And I asked for critique during and in between every single pass that I did. And it's half the reason it turned out well at all. And then once I had collected all the critique and then made a big fix list of things I wanted to change, I just, refined, fixed proportions, fixed the text boxes, expressions, and generally just made it look better. And then it was, I did the illustrations in Procreate, and I did the text and the panel outlines in Photoshop afterwards. Then it was just some small final things. I had to make an icon picture. I had to make a little blurb for the Webtoon, make the thumbnail images that go for each chapter, and then I just uploaded it, and it felt so good to finally upload it, because at this point I'd been working on it for 60, 70 hours, and it felt amazing to finally see it all up in public, and I could send it to people. But to officially announce it on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, I wanted to make a little teaser animation. So I started with taking a reference picture so it saved time, then I made a color rough, then did the actual 2D animation, which was pretty short. It was 1 or 2 seconds, and then I did the rest in After Effects. And I did sound design for the first time, which was really difficult for me, but I'm kind of proud of how it turned out for a beginner. So yeah, this is the video.
Please stand on the X.
Oh, my bad, sorry. This is a QR code to the actual Webtoon, because some people have been having some search issues for finding it. So, any questions?
I just wanted to say, ever since you did your world building project, with your group, I knew your Zenith was gonna do so good, and it obviously you did so good on your Zenith, and I really loved the color you used throughout and the framing you used throughout the Webtoon. And I also wanted to ask, for the critiques, where did you look for critiques, and was it just people you knew, or how did you ask for critiques, and
Friends and trusted peers. So my parents, I would constantly, because they were right there, so I would show them when I was actually drawing. But then with my friends, I would send them screenshots, or here I sent them the link to the test page, which is actually still up actually. Sometimes I went in a Discord server and I asked hey, does anyone want to beta read my thing? Or really, I was really eager to show people. So if anyone even mentioned it, I would be hey, you want to look at my art? So yeah, really, you got to be brave and send it to as many people as you can. Yeah.
I thought this was just like amazing. Like the illustration, like this looked so professional. Like you did all the work and like you got like the comments and you got revisions and you like this was just so good.
It's so creepy, like in a good way. Like I really liked it. Like it was so cool, but at the first like thing that you showed us, like it was scrolling down and then all of like the faces came out and I was like, oh my god, that's like weird, but like good. Like I was like, it's so creepy. I like it.
So for like, I think for the first prologue, part 1, there's everything is kind of like sectioned off into their own boxes, but then it kind of all starts to mesh together. Was it difficult to animate in that kind of vertical concept? Like, how did you like go down up for some of the panels? Did you go like up down when you were trying to draw it?
As in
Like when you were drawing your panels, right? It's like all super fluid. Right?
it's
You don't
one.
want breaks.
Yeah, so like I said, like I worked on that long canvas, and then when I sketched it, I made sure I had that endless thing in mind. So like you know that like black and white section, that was all one panel batch, and then the thing with like like each long continuous section was one panel batch, so that it was a lot easier to connect it all. Yeah.
Like ignoring the amazing artwork that you've done, like on a writing standpoint, your comic really makes me think. Like I have so much questions on what's like going on. Like I'm always interested. Your story doesn't really need a plot. It's just so bizarre, and the humans that you created are so creepy. Like, why are they after me or something like that? Those questions are so intriguing, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was gonna say, like, it felt very engaging, and we, like, I don't know, we didn't really know much about your story, about who this character is, and yet, like, I felt myself, like, I was, like, still very curious and everything, but my question was, what was, like, the most tedious part of this whole process for you?
I didn't even get into this part, but there were like 1,000,001 cropping issues. I mentioned that like, I think I forgot to mention this part, but like I made the panel batches and then you have to crop it into those smaller images afterwards. And so in the beginning parts, like part 1, I would just drop it into Webtoon and it would auto crop. But Webtoon has a 20 megabyte like upload size limit. So then when, like, at the faces part, when the drawing started getting really complicated, it was like 30, 40 megabytes per file. So it wouldn't auto-crop, so I had to use a different website to auto-crop, but that cropped to a different size, so then I had to, there was a whole thing. But then that took, like, a ton of time to figure out. Yeah?
Do you have a fan base yet?
No, I do not.
I would like to do the first. Yeah, I thought that this was really engaging. It kind of made me feel in like the same way. I don't know if you've ever read the Amulet graphic novels, but like just like I think your animation, I think your graphics are better than that even, like more engaging, more colorful. But it definitely made me feel that like eerie kind of like gross feeling in my stomach, which is a good thing. That's what we're all trying to say.
That's what I was saying.
Good job.
I'm subscribed, waiting for the next one.
Yeah, I know. Fan base.
I just saw Webtoon.
I thought you used the fact that like you scroll really well, like the way that the picture reveals like more and more, especially when like, the faces come closer and closer. I think you utilize the fact that like it's meant to be read on your phone and like scroll really well.
Yeah, that was one of my goals from the beginning, actually. I wanted to like really take advantage of it. Yeah.
Did you have a favorite frame?
Oh, I love the faces. I had so much fun drawing the faces. I didn't even, like, I went straight to final during the rough pass because it just went so smoothly drawing it. It was awesome. Yeah. Oh, Katie.
Oh, I like how when you're scrolling on it, like instead of it just being frame, like it's all one picture. Like it doesn't like I expected it to be like here's the first part, here's the second part, here's the third part, but it's all like one thing and it's super cool.
Oh yeah, I don't know, it was really cool seeing like when you were like showing me like the first like process of like the start of the trailer to like right now. It kind of like my whole thing was like this is really cool to like right now where it literally gave me chills and it was so incredible to watch.
Incredible stuff. Thank you very much.